Nothing's impossible, I have found, for when my chin is on the ground, I pick myself up, I dust myself off, and start all over again.
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. We're Floridians, and we've had more than our share of hurricanes, haven't we? Andrew, Charlie, Francis, Ivan, Jeannie, Matthew. We know how to do this. We know how to dust ourselves off, pick ourselves up, start all over again. I usually start my talks on Monday. So I had a talk title Tuesday, which kept changing during the week. And the governor told us to brace ourselves for the worst. So our family prepared for the worst, and we affirmed the best. And a lot of you mentioned it. All the prayers that came our way from people out of state, from friends. And using prayer, and I know this worked. Using prayer, Dan, you got that ready? Using prayer and the hairdryer we found in the back room. This is a Tuesday morning class. We decided to get out there and just blow Matthew off course a little bit. And it worked. So our spiritual power this month is the power of zeal. In today's talk, Tuesday it was going to be silent zeal. Today it's the power of zeal. Yesterday morning, I could feel the change in the air after the hurricane. Did you notice that coolness? I don't know about you, but I didn't think this summer's heat was ever going to stop. And that little coolness felt so good. And so I found something interesting. Did you know that hurricanes help balance our Earth's temperature? Some of you do. I didn't know that. The Earth has to keep the contrast of the extreme temperatures from the polar areas that's so cold and the equator area, the tropics that's so hot. And if it doesn't, if we don't have this balance, there's no rainfall, there's no seasons. The low and high pressure systems act to rearrange our Earth's extreme temperatures. And hurricanes are part of that equation. So we have this book in Unity called The Revealing Word. And it's our co-founder, Charles Fillmore's metaphysical interpretation of things. And we read this in Tuesday morning's class. This is the metaphysical interpretation of zeal. And when we read it, the class went, no way. Zeal is the mighty force that incites the winds, the tides, the storms. It urges the planet on its course and spurs the ant to greater exertion. It is the urge behind all things. Zeal is the affirmative impulse of existence. Its command is go forward. We pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we go forward. That's what Floridians know how to do so well, don't we? But actually, it's what all humankind does well. Whether it's a terrorist bombing, or a police shooting, or a natural disaster, we go forward. We pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off. And we start all over again. We can see when we had Katrina in Louisiana and everything was flattened. And they started all over again. So Suzanne and Kayla and Deb chose to spend the time of the hurricane here at church. And John and I stayed at the house. And once it was all over, Suzanne sent us a picture and said, we can't come home, the driveway's blocked. And I'm going to be out of sequence, Dan, but would you show the picture of the tree down? So this is the picture they took from in here out. We didn't even realize what was on the other side of that. So finally, the wind stopped enough, we could get the garage door open. And the videos aren't working, right? Okay. And we opened our garage door and we couldn't get out of our garage. We had this humongous bougainvillea bush that just came down, and you just don't push bougainvillea bushes out of the way, right? So we had the clippers in the garage, and we're like kind of clipping our way out, and a neighbor walks by, and it's still kind of rainy out there, and he goes, "Hey, you guys need help? I got a truck." He comes back, he ties the rope, and I had a video of it, but we can't get it to work, and he pulled this humongous thing out to the side of the road. So we got in the car, came up here. Deb had a 4-wheel, so if you notice the pond, our whole front yard is a pond right now. But she drove her front wheel. Somehow you got out of here.
Well, there was a little break in the trees, and I moved the trees out of the way to take my 4-wheel through.
Okay. And so Suzanne and Kayla packed all their bags, and they hiked through it to the end of the road so we could pick them up, leaving their cars here. Well, when John and I pulled up, here is his name. We call him Lumberjack. He's the man who, when we had to have our live oaks trimmed and our yard trees trimmed, he came and did all that for us. Here he is, cutting away our trees. And I just went, oh my gosh. And he came up to me and he hugged me and he said, "This is for free." Yeah. I had another really great video because we looked at him and went, "Oh, we can't get in the car and go home. He's cutting this huge tree down." So we all started grabbing branches as he cut them and hauling them out. That's a big tree. There's a lot of branches. And as we're doing this car stops in the middle of the road, and this very elderly gentleman says to me, "I live down the road and I have a tractor. And if I can get it started, I'll be up." Now, he goes, "I want you to hear this. I have no insurance. I have no insurance." I said, "Okay, I get it." And, we didn't know if he'd be back. Well, he comes up the road with his tractor, and these pieces that we're pulling one at a time, I wish you could hear the video we had, because I could hear Suzanne and go, "Ah!" And she starts laughing because he's got, a whole backhoe. Well, we're going one at a time with him. Evidently, he's known here in Northern Mary Island, Toppy or something like that. Chris, do you know him? You guys know him? He's 91 years old. And he cleaned jack cut, and he pushed it away for us. The power of zeal. When we talk about the power of zeal, we are talking about that power deep within us. And it's a power of enthusiasm and joy that pushes through us, and when it comes out, we end up serving. We end up giving. We end up moving forward. And that zeal doesn't stir up, it doesn't arise from anything that happens out here. It comes from within us, to our connection with Spirit. 3 men stopped and helped that day. Not from their outer motivation to gain anything, but as my parents used to tell me, from the goodness of their heart, from that fountain of zeal that's inside us. I talked last Sunday about the difference between ego-based zeal and spiritual zeal. Ego-based zeal is unstable energy. That's when we talk about zealous people, right? We know what that is. And that unstable energy creates chaos, just like hurricanes do. So a hurricane comes along to stabilize the earth energy, the earth temperature. Chaos seeks stability. It seeks to balance things out. So even when we're in a hurricane, it's actually balancing things out. And eventually everything returns to what it was, right? Almost, right? Or it raises us higher. And that's what I loved about hearing you all share. I heard the awareness. I heard the gratitude. I heard how you rose higher. And that raising higher depends on the spiritual work we do during the chaos or during the hurricane. So just think about what your spiritual work was during that hurricane. Did you notice the way you might have moved between fear and then an awareness of spirit? What work were you doing? Because I know it was powerful work. Did you use your spiritual work to lift you and others higher? I think so. And then look at times you were maybe pulled into the chaos and the fear. Did you watch yourself go back and forth? We're called to hold the high watch during chaos, during hurricanes, during any disaster. So sometimes it means cutting down a tree or using a tractor. And sometimes it means just getting centered and quiet and letting that energy move out into the world. I especially like this quote I found. Dan, if you have that. Don't let people pull you into their storm, pull them into your peace. Can you feel that? Do you know what it means? And so I want you to really, really hear that, so that the next time you find that fear, like, sometimes it just starts going crazy inside you and you don't know what to do with it, catch yourself. You have the power not to get pulled into it. You have the power to get centered, to get stable, to be a center of peace. Because peace, higher consciousness, is more powerful than negative consciousness. Yeah, our Reiki master's going like this here. And you will affect the world around you. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Close your eyes. Be still and know that I am God. Breathe. Feel that in you. And use that affirmation. Use that Psalms as an affirmation whenever you find yourself starting to get pulled into the chaos, into the fear of whatever hurricane's going on around you. You could open your eyes. We breathe. We breathe one breath at a time. We breathe into that one power. And that's when we feel ourselves lifted. That's when we feel ourselves filled. So don't allow yourself to get sucked into the hurricanes of the chaos of life. Do become part of the helping the balance resume. The three men appearing the day after Matthew, I kept getting the three wise men. And so I went to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. We're going to be starting a metaphysical class soon. And the three wise men, listen to this, represent stored up resources of the soul, which rise to the surface when its depths are stirred. Now, I'm going to use you for a minute, Jeannie. Jeannie came in this morning and she just went, ah. She chose to stay where she lived because there were so many elderly people that she felt were going to need help. As she went into her strength center, she stabilized herself and she stayed there to help these people through the storm. And she didn't realize it until she walked in here this morning that, okay, I can let go now. And it's good to do that. Know that there's people around that can support you when it's your time to just say, okay, let me let go right now. But it's that zeal that stirs up inside us, that opens us up and says, who I am and what I am is bigger than this hurricane, is bigger than this fear. Storms are part of our life. Whether it's a health challenge, a financial challenge, or a natural disaster. But what's important during a storm is not the storm, but my response. Hurricanes blow off more than just roofs. They can blow off our mass. Because storms can bring out the worst and best of us, can't they? It's always our choice. Do I choose to act selfishly, reacting from fear, or thinking only about my own needs? Or do I choose to look to where I can help and where I can serve? So use that the next time a storm comes up. And remember, it doesn't have to be a hurricane storm. It can be any type of chaos, any type of fear. Choose to become the instrument of strength, comfort, stability, balance in the midst of chaos. Because it's easy to find, isn't it? It's everywhere. When I listen to disaster survivors, after the big disasters, and they go around talking to people, I don't hear them crying over losing their widescreen TV. And I don't see them running through the streets yelling, "My cordless drill is missing. My golf clubs got washed away." No, they're going through the streets, through the rummage, looking and yelling for loved ones. They're crying over the loss of them, and so many of you said that. Grateful for your life. Zeal is the mighty force that incites the winds, the tides, the storms. It urges the planet on its course and spurs the ant to greater exertion. It is the urge behind all things. Zeal is the affirmative impulse of existence. Its command is to go forward. We are the ant being spurred to greater exertion. Being spurred to rise higher. Storms are our opportunities to rise higher. So whatever storm you're facing, pick yourself up, take a deep breath, what? Brush yourself off, start all over again, and tap into that power of your spiritual zeal. God bless you.
Nothing's impossible, I have found. For when my chin is on the ground, I pick myself up, I dust myself off, and start all over again. Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for that pleasant trip and pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Work like a soul inspired till the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but stick till the job is done. Oh, don't you remember the famous men who had to fall to rise again? So pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Well, work like a soul inspired till the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but stick till the job is done. Oh, don't you remember the famous men who had to fall to start again? So take a deep breath, pick yourself up, and start all over again. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, take a deep breath. I said, take a deep breath. Pick yourself up and start